Chapter 1. From fireworks to fingerprints, the shocking fall of hip-hop royalty. Once the king of New York nightlife, Sean Diddy Combs now spends his days in a grey jumpsuit inside a concrete box. For a man who built an empire on glitz, champagne and platinum records, his new July 4th reality couldn't be more surreal or humiliating. Just days before America lit up the sky in celebration, a federal jury delivered a thunderous verdict, guilty on 2 counts under the Mann Act, a rarely used but powerful federal law concerning illegal transportation for immoral purposes. The courtroom was silent, and Diddy's once arrogant swagger was nowhere to be seen. All that remained was a man stripped of power, status, and freedom. Chapter 2. The charges that shook the culture. The charges stemmed from an explosive multi-year investigation involving dozens of whistleblowers, former associates, bodyguards, ex-girlfriends, and even a few celebrities whose names had to be redacted during trial. Prosecutors accused Diddy of orchestrating what they called a decades-long enterprise involving coercion, manipulation, and, most damningly, interstate transportation of women for illicit activities. Count 1. Transporting a woman from Miami to New York under false pretenses, and, with coercion, Count 2. Using private jets and tour buses to move vulnerable women across state lines for immoral purposes. Both charges fell under the Mann Act, a federal law first enacted in 1910 but revamped in recent decades to include modern definitions of trafficking and coercion. The jury, composed of 7 women and 5 men, took just 9 hours to deliberate. The result? Guilty. Chapter 3. Inside the courtroom. The day the empire fell, July 1, 2025, may go down as the worst day in Sean Combs' life. The courtroom was filled with tension. Diddy arrived in a tailored navy suit, sunglasses off for the first time in weeks. His legal team sat stiffly beside him, papers in hand, knowing the tide had already turned. Once hailed as the mastermind mogul behind Bad Boy Records and the global vote or die movement, Diddy now looked like a prisoner in waiting. When the jury foreman read the word guilty, not once but twice, a quiet gasp echoed through the courtroom. Diddy looked stunned, blinking rapidly, as if trying to wake from a nightmare. Behind him, whispers spread like wildfire. Was this the end of Diddy? Would more names be exposed? What about the so-called Black Book the FBI allegedly seized during their raids? Chapter 4. July 4. Behind bars. What Diddy ate instead of caviar just 3 days after the verdict. While America partied with BBQs and fireworks, Diddy sat alone in his cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. There were no celebrity friends, no studio lights, no bottles of Ciroc flowing, only a bland jail tray consisting of cornbread, canned green beans, instant mashed potatoes, watered-down lemonade, a slice of cheap apple pie. Sources inside the facility claimed Diddy barely touched his food. One guard reportedly overheard him muttering, "They really got me, man." Let that sink in. The man who used to throw million-dollar yacht parties was now eating cornbread under a flickering fluorescent light, a symbolic collapse of a kingdom built on image, power, and manipulation. Chapter 5. The investigation nobody saw coming. The roots of this case trace back to 2023, when rumors of Diddy's involvement in underground parties and exploitation schemes began to surface, thanks in part to former collaborators like Cassie Ventura, whose civil suit opened the floodgates. Then came the FBI raids, helicopters, armored vans, agents swarming Diddy's Miami mansion and LA estate, laptops, phones, hard drives, all seized. The government claimed Diddy had an internal network of enablers, employees who booked flights, scheduled entertainment, and ensured the guests never spoke out. Then came the surveillance footage, grainy, disturbing, and sealed under court order, but enough to convince the jury that this wasn't mere exaggeration. A federal agent testified, "What we found shocked even the most experienced investigators. This wasn't a party, this was a program." Chapter 6. Where are the celebrities now? Here's where things get murkier. During the investigation, whispers of illicit involvement became too loud to ignore. A source from inside the Department of Justice told journalists, "You'd be surprised how many names were in that mansion security log." Rumors point towards several music executives, a TV host, and even a Netflix actor being regular visitors. As of now, those names remain redacted, but insiders believe another wave of indictments is coming. Even some of Diddy's closest allies have gone dark. Jay-Z, silent DJ Khaled, avoiding questions French Montana, deleted old photos Young Miami, distanced herself completely. Chapter 7. Life inside Diddy's jail cell. In jail, Diddy is not a mogul. He's inmate number 05,201,970. He shares a 9 by 12 foot cell, sleeps on a metal bed with a thin mattress, and gets 1 hour of outdoor time a day. Gone are the Versace robes, replaced with orange jumpsuits and state-issued slip. Sources say he requested to be kept separate from general population, citing safety concerns. He's allowed 2 phone calls a day, 3 showers a week, no internet access, only basic books, no music production, no business. His only visitor so far? His mother, Janice Combs, who was reportedly in tears and told a guard, "This isn't my son. This is not how his story ends." Chapter 8. What's next? More charges, sentencing, civil suits? Although he was found guilty on 2 federal charges, this is not the end of Diddy's legal nightmare. Sentencing is scheduled for October 3, 2025, and legal experts predict 10 to 20 years behind bars. But more importantly, there are still multiple civil lawsuits pending from women who say they were trafficked, abused, or drugged at Diddy's parties. And let's not forget, the FBI seized over 1 terabyte of encrypted data, most of which hasn't been decrypted yet. If even 10% of it confirms what's being alleged, this case could become bigger than Epstein, bigger than Weinstein, and possibly the most explosive celebrity scandal of this generation. Chapter 9. From Bad Boy to Broken Man. The cultural fallout. The music industry is also grappling with the fallout. Diddy's Revolt TV has suspended all production. Ciroc Vodka has terminated their branding deal. Multiple artists have begun removing him from credits. Spotify quietly demoted his entire catalog in algorithmic recommendations. The man who once declared, "Can't stop, won't stop," has now been stopped by the law. Final chapter. The legacy in ruins. Whether you loved him or hated him, Diddy was everywhere. Clubs, television, red carpets, award shows, BET stages. He redefined hip-hop entrepreneurship. He changed the image of black excellence. But now, that image lies in ruins. This July 4th, as the world celebrated freedom, Diddy tasted confinement. And in the cold silence of a Brooklyn cell, a once invincible empire crumbled. Not with a bang, but with a quiet federal verdict. The end of an era, or just the beginning? Stay tuned. This story is still unfolding. And based on the sealed court files and the whispered names behind them, Diddy may just be the first domino to fall. Let me know if you'd like. Once the king of New York nightlife, Sean Diddy Combs now spends his days in a grey jumpsuit inside a concrete box. For a man who built an empire on glitz, champagne and platinum records, his new July 4th reality couldn't be more surreal or humiliating. Just days before America lit up the sky in celebration, a federal jury delivered a thunderous verdict. Guilty on 2 counts under the Mann Act, a rarely used but powerful federal law concerning illegal transportation for immoral purposes. The courtroom was silent, and Diddy's once arrogant swagger was nowhere to be seen. All that remained was a man stripped of power, status, and freedom.